Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HCC Nursing Preview Program. My name is Kevin Crawford. I'm the Director of Admissions and Enrollment Management here at HCC.
My name is Amber Tobery, and I am the academic advisor that works specifically with students going into nursing and healthcare programs.
Hi, I'm Karen Hammond. I'm Director of Nursing. I have both the practical nursing program and the registered nursing program under my direction.
And I'm Robin Hill, and I am the program coordinator and instructor assistant professor for the practical nursing program.
The purpose of the preview program is to make sure that all students who are applying for our RN or our PN program, that they know all the requirements. At the college, we have a couple hundred students who are sitting in a major that is either, general studies, nursing, or, they're in that pre-general studies for practical nursing. And we don't want students kind of spinning their wheels and not knowing how to get into our programs. Being that it's a selective admission program, we want students on their first attempt to have everything in place to get in. So we've made this requirement just so students are up to date on what they need to do. And possibly once you hear some of the things that we go over, like the time commitment and the things that you'll do, perhaps you may look in another direction, and we want to be able to offer you advice for that as well. So in applying for the RN program, there are two options to do. There's the 3-year and the 2-year option, and students always have questions on this. For the 3-year option, and this is going to be a majority of the students who are applying, these will be students who have 12 credits of the program required general education classes completed or in progress at the application deadline. So Anatomy and Physiology 1 must be one of those courses that's completed or in progress. The reason that's most students have begun to work on those program required general education courses. If you're applying for the 2-year program, you basically have not taken any of those general education courses. The 2-year program is really for recent high school graduates who have not taken anything, and we use their SAT or their T-scores to get into the program, but they must be enrolled in Anatomy and Physiology 1. So when most students are doing the application, they're like, oh, I want to do the program in 2 years, or I want to do it in 3 years. It's not necessarily the length of time, because some of you applying to the 3-year program may have all the general education classes completed, and once you start the program, it will be 2 years for you. If you've already completed the supplemental application and you checked off the 2-year option, but you've completed a lot of your gen ed courses, we'll make that adjustment for you and throw you into that 3-year program. Accepted students move through as a cohort. That's for the RN and the PN program. So you can't just drop and say, hey, I'm going to pick up next semester. You move through as a group. Students must have a social security number or a tax ID number to sit for the NCLEX exam, and that's for RN and PM. And there will be a criminal background check for both RN and the PN program. Our deadlines are pretty strict. We don't adjust these. We don't say, hey, I'm sorry, you're a day late. We'll go ahead and take your application. These are pretty much set in stone. The RN program has 2 a year, January 15th, and those students would start in the fall semester, and then July 15th deadline is for students who will start in the spring semester. Our practical nursing, our LPN program, has a March 15th deadline, and those students will start in the summer semester. And no exceptions are made. Selective admissions programs, we're very strict. I think it's an honor to be able to apply for those programs and get in, so we want you to make sure you hit those deadlines. So let's talk about the RN program first. What is required to be considered for admission to the RN program? So you must apply to HCC first. You need to have an application for admission on file at the college, and we'll send you your student ID number and your login information. And those of you watching this who have already taken classes with us at HCC or you already have applied, you know that you'll receive that acceptance letter. But to apply specifically for the RN program, you'll need to complete the supplemental application for the nursing program. That's going to be required by whatever deadline you're shooting for, whether it's January the 15th or July the 15th. You also must submit official T-scores So official T scores are needed for everyone, except if you've taken them in the HCC testing center. We'll have a copy of them if they are in the HCC testing center. All I ask for those of you who have taken the T's in our testing center is if you could send a copy or bring a copy of those scores to the admissions office so we have it on file. We have to look through the ATI site, which oversees T's. We have to look through for each individual student. So if you have taken it in our testing center, just out of a courtesy to our staff, if you could just send them in or bring them to us, and we'd makes it a little bit easier for us. But for T's, you must score at least a 60% overall and have at least a 69 on the reading section. And you can take the T's test twice in an application period. So you saw the deadlines for RN, which, you know, July 15, January 15th. In between those times, you can take that T's test 2 times. If you've taken SATs in the last 5 years, go ahead and submit those scores because it's something that we possibly could use, especially if you're applying for that 2-year program. If in high school you took advanced placement or AP tests, we use a score of 3 or higher. If you've taken, example, AP Lang or AP Stat in high school and you scored a 3 or higher, send those official scores to us so that we can give you credit for those classes. The next bullet point is probably the most important one. We need official transcripts from all colleges attended. The reason we calculate cumulative grade point average from all college coursework as part of the scoring process. If you took classes at HCC, you don't need to submit transcripts from HCC because we already have those. So example, if I took one class when I was in high school or one class that was like a fitness walking class, 1 credit at, you know, XYZ college, and I've attended 2 other colleges, I still need that transcript from XYZ college because that 1 credit class is calculated into our cumulative grade point average. And in the past, we've had students who will send us their transcripts, but they'll either not send us a transcript from a college where they only took 1 class or a college where they failed a class. My staff is very good in the admissions office. We will find that transcript. We will find that you went to a college and did not submit it to us, and you will be ineligible. So please, just make sure you send transcripts from every college you've attended. If you were awarded a credit class, we need those transcripts. If it's a non-credit class, we don't need those transcripts. And if you ever have any questions on that, just send us an email to admissions@hagerstown.cc.edu. So make it easy on yourself. Send us all your transcripts. Send them officially to us so that we can do that cumulative grade point average. The next thing is completion of all required science courses within 7 years prior to the application deadline. And I'm going to go over what those general education sciences are. But basically, it's your anatomy and physiology 1, your anatomy and physiology 2, and microbiology. So those sciences must be completed within 7 years prior to the application deadline. And to apply for the RN program, our Bio 203 or Anatomy and Physiology 1 must be completed or in progress at the time of the application to the program. If Bio 204 or the Anatomy and Physiology 2 is not completed when the program begins, it must be taken in the first semester of the program. Here's some other things we're looking for. We're looking for a minimum cumulative grade point average from all college coursework of at least a 2.0 on a 4.0 scale. So that's that every transcript of every class you've taken. We need that on file so we can see that you at least have a cumulative grade point average of 2.0. In addition, we need a minimum grade point average of 2.5 in all the program required general education courses. I'm going to show those to you here in a couple of minutes. But we need at least the 2.5. And we'll have students all the time say, oh, my GPA is 2.8, I'm good. But if you take the core classes that we're considering for the program and you don't have that 2.5, you're not eligible to be scored for the program. You must be eligible to enter college level English and math. That's for those of you on the 2-year pathway who've never taken an English or a math course. And we basically need to grade a C or higher in all of those general education courses that we require. So if you have a D in psychology, you're ineligible. If you have a D in something else, you're ineligible. And the problem for this sometimes arises where students will apply to the program and maybe they'll have developmental psychology in progress, or maybe they'll have microbiology in progress. Even if we send out an award letter to you saying, hey, congratulations, you're accepted into our nursing program or our practical nursing program. If the course you have in progress, if you earn a D or an F, you become ineligible for the program and we will take that acceptance letter back. So a grade of C or higher is needed in all of the program required general education courses. So it's very important if you have a course that's in progress, you finish strong in that course and you get a grade of A, B, or C. If you have a D or an F in one of those grades, you really can't apply to the program again until a grade of A, B, or C is taking place of the D or the F. Any student who's taking classes outside of the United States must have their college transcripts evaluated by World Education Services. If we are in the program, here are the general education courses that we look at. And a lot of times we have questions from students, you know, how do I get into this program? What's the secret to getting in? Well, what you're looking at on this screen is the secret. The higher your grades in these courses, the better your chances of getting into our RN program. So 12 credits of the following courses must be completed or in progress at the program application deadline. And remember, the Anatomy and Physiology 1 must be completed or in progress at the application deadline. So we're looking for an Art and Humanities elective, General Psychology, Introduction to Sociology, Developmental Psychology, Anatomy and Physiology 1, Anatomy and Physiology 2, Microbiology, English Composition, Composition and Literature, or Advanced English Composition. And then our Math 109 is Introduction to Statistics, or you could take another general education math course. Now, students in the past who did not get into our nursing program, when they contact me or an advisor, they usually want to know, how do I get in? What do I need to do better? And my suggestion always is, if you have multiple C's in the courses that are listed here on the screen, you're going to better your chances by making those A's or B's. The last couple scoring cycles we've done, if you've had a 3.3 GPA or higher in the courses listed on the screen, you stood a pretty good chance of getting in. And that's no guarantee because, you know, each time we have an application cycle, it's different group applying, and sometimes the GPA may be a little higher or a little bit lower. But a good standard is, if the course is listed, if you have a 3.3 in those courses, you usually stand a pretty good chance of getting into the program. 2 or 3 C's in the courses listed bring your GPA down considerably. So a lot of times we just advise students to try to make the C's be into A's or B's. So A's and B's are what you're shooting for the courses listed on the screen. For the nursing program, we will mail letters out 6 weeks after the application deadline. We do go through applications and basically rank them and score them by hand. So we're looking at every transcript, we're looking at everything that you've basically submitted, your T-scores. We're looking for this preview program because this is a requirement. If you don't watch this, you're not eligible. So we're looking at all of those things. Accepted students get a packet with action items. There'll be dates for mandatory information sessions and a payment of a deposit fee. You can't apply for 2 selective admission programs at the same time. So for those of you who do apply, like for the January 15th RN, if you're not considered for that, we do get acceptance or denial or standby letters out to you before the March 15th deadline so that you can apply for practical nursing if necessary. So you can't apply for 2 of those at the same time. The letters that are mailed out to students, there's basically 3 letters. The first is your acceptance letter. Congratulations, you've been accepted into the RN program or the PN program. And on that, there'll be specific instructions about the information session and deposit fee. A second letter that could go out could be a letter that you're on the standby list. The standby list basically means we scored you, everything is here, you meet the requirements, but remember, we only take 56 students in twice a year. So if you're not in that top group, we start ranking a standby list, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down through whoever would be the last person that we had scored. So you're really competing against the group that has applied. The third letter would be the denial letter. If you receive a denial letter, that means you were missing something in your nursing application. And usually my name is on that letter, and you can reach out to me so we can discuss what you'll need to submit so that you're eligible the next time for the program. So remember, we need that supplemental application. We need you to watch this preview program and document you've done so. I'll give you instructions at some point in time during this PowerPoint to let you know how we document that you've watched. You'll need to submit your transcripts from every college you've ever attended, official copies. You'll need to send in your official T-scores applying for the RN program, and then for the PN program, we'll need high school transcripts or proof of high school graduation. So these are the things that you'll need, and these are when letters will go out. We're usually right on target with when letters do go out. So to be considered for the practical nursing program or the LPN program, here's what is required. We need official high school transcripts or GED scores. Those must be sent in. We need you to make sure you complete the supplemental application for the practical nursing program, and that's a deadline by March the 15th. You need to submit official T-scores. Official T-scores are needed from everyone except those testing in the HCC testing center. Once again, remind you as a courtesy, if you took the test in our testing center, if you could forward a copy to the admissions office, would greatly be appreciated. For the LPN program, you need to score at least a 60% overall and a 69% in the reading section. You can take the T's twice in an application period, but we do allow our practical nursing programs, if you're applying for that, since there's only one deadline a year between March the 15th of one year and March the 15th of the next year, we do allow you to take the T's up to 4 times if necessary. For the PN program, we also need official transcripts from all colleges attended. Once again, we calculate cumulative grade point average from all college coursework as part of the scoring process. If you took classes on our campus, we don't need you to submit transcripts from HCC, but we need official transcripts from every single college that you've attended. For the PN program, you need to make sure you've completed all your science courses within 7 years prior to the application deadline. And it's very important. Here's a little bit of a difference between practical nursing and the RN program. For practical nursing, at the March the 15th deadline, Anatomy and Physiology 1 must be completed. It must be finished, and Anatomy and Physiology 2 must be either completed or in progress at the March 15th deadline. So Anatomy and Physiology 1 and 2, they'll need to be finished when you start the program, which is the summer semester. So make sure you adhere to that and plan accordingly for that program. And then of course, all science courses need to be completed within 7 years prior to the deadline. For practical nursing, English 101 must be completed or in progress at the application deadline. General psychology must be completed or in progress at the application deadline. And you must be eligible for college level math. So on the screen we have Math 101, MAT 101, or MAT 109. That's college algebra or introductions to statistics. You need to make sure you're eligible for college level math for the PN program. Minimal cumulative grade point average of a 2.0. So remember, we get all your college transcripts. We're going to do a cumulative grade point average from everything you've taken in college, and that's to be at least that 2.0, and a C or higher in all of your general education courses. So that's your Anatomy and Phys 1 and 2, that's your English, that's your psych, and if you have completed a math, we need a C in that as well. If you took a class in another country, you must have those transcripts, college and high school transcripts. If you took high school, if you did your high school in another country, you must have those evaluated by World Education Services as well. And now I'm going to turn it over to Karen and Robin and let them talk a little bit about technical standards, expectations, and things from the faculty side.
Hi again, my name is Karen Hammond and I'm Director of Nursing, and I do welcome each and every one of you. A lot of you have already taken some of the prerequisite courses, and now you're applying to get into the nursing program. Just wanted to let you know that it's very rigorous, and Robin will speak more to this, but it's very rigorous, and the tests and things that we give you are more preparing you for the NCLEX. So it's a little different kind of test than you're used to taking in the other courses. And what I mean by that is all the answers in a given question may be correct, but which one is the most correct? And so it takes a little bit of critical thinking sometimes to think through these exam questions, but I would encourage you not to fall behind. If you don't do well in an exam, please don't wait till you've taken several exams before you go talk to the instructor. You take your exam and you don't do well, make an appointment to meet with the instructor and find out where you're going astray. Maybe it's your study habits, maybe it's the way you're studying, and each instructor is very supportive and will be more than willing to help you as you go through the program. Both programs, both the practical nursing and the RN program, are very rigorous. So like I said, I would encourage you to get on the ground running at the very beginning and study and be prepared to take the exams, and don't let yourself fall behind. And I will turn it over to Robin now, and she'll speak more to technical standards and expectations and so on.
Hi, this is Robin Hill, and I am the instructor for the practical nursing program. I also teach pharmacology in the RN program. Technical standards, when we talk about technical standards, we talk about things that you as the student are responsible for. So you have to make sure that you are physically fit to enter a nursing program. Do you have a good back? Do you have good strength? Are you able to stand for 8 to 12 hours a day? These are all things that nurses have to do. So as a student, we expect you to be able to do that as well. You have to have your own transportation to get to and from clinical. We do not provide transportation to the clinical sites. In the RN program, the clinical sites are primarily at Meredith or around the Hagerstown area. In the practical nursing program, we have clinical sites in Williamsport, in Hagerstown, Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, Martinsburg, West Virginia. So you need reliable transportation in order to get to those places. You need to have childcare. If you have small children, you need to have reliable childcare, because you're not going to be able to bring your children to class with you. You're not going to be able to bring them to lab or to the clinical agencies. So you need to have a backup, a plan and a backup plan, because if your child is sick and they can't go to school, then you need to have someone that can stay with them, because you're enrolled in this program and attendance is mandatory. So you can't very well stay home to take care of your children, because you'll miss important content. Especially in the practical nursing program, we have 6-hour lectures on 2 days of the week. And if you miss one of those lectures, you could have missed a whole unit of the information. So it's very important that you abide by the attendance rules. Also, if you miss a day of class or clinical, there will be points deducted from your final average. When Karen was talking about the testing, in the RN program, you have to have a 75 exam average. So the average of all of your exams has to be a 75%. And in the second year of the RN program, you have to have at least 50% of your exams have to be above that 75. in the LPN program, you have to have a 75% exam average. So if you have 4 exams, you have a 60, a 70, an 80, and a 90, then you're going to have a 75 exam average. But you want to make sure that you are studying appropriately and have good exam grades so that when it comes to the end of the semester, you're not scrambling and need like a 90 on the final just to get that 75 exam average. The courses are very rigorous. You have class primarily 4 days a week between clinical, lab, and lecture. You are in class 4 to 5 days a week. This is a full-time program. Both of these programs are. So working, we recommend that students don't work at all if they can. And if they have to work, we recommend they work no more than 20 hours in a week. Because for every credit hour that you're taking, you're expected to study 3 hours of your own time. So fundamentals is a 9-credit course. So you're expected to be studying at least 27 hours outside of class to make yourself acceptable grades and to be responsible for the material that you are covering. If these are all things that you don't think that you can do, if you don't have reliable childcare or reliable transportation, you need to make sure that you have those things before you enter into the nursing program. The instructors are here for you. We are very, very student advocates. We advocate for our students. We tutor our students. We help with the students, any problems that they have, but we can't provide those things for you. So those are things that you need to make sure that you have in place prior to going into the nursing programs. If you are successful in the LPN program, we also have an LPN to RN transition program. After you have passed the NCLEX for the LPN program, you work for 6 months, and then you can enter into the LPN to RN transition program. And in 1 year, you'll have your RN degree. That is a very amicable program for a lot of students because they can work a little bit as an LPN as they're going through the RN program. The LPN program is an 11-month program. We start in June and we finish in May. And the RN program is a 2-year program. You start in the fall, you have fall, spring, summer, fall, and spring. Or if you start in the spring, you have spring, summer, fall, spring, summer, fall, spring, and fall. So we have 2 graduations a year, December graduation and a May graduation. And then after you finish the program, you will take the NCLEX exam. So everything that we do in these programs is working towards getting you to pass that NCLEX exam. And that's the exam that will then give you your license. If you have watched this preview program and you have any questions about anything, you can ask the registration email, or you can email one of the nursing faculty and they will be more than happy to answer your questions. And I'll turn it back over to Kevin.
All right, thanks, Karen. Thanks, Robin. And one of the points that was pointed out that, you need a 75% or higher to pass your courses. If you fail 2 courses with a 75% or higher, or if you're lower than a 75% in 2 courses, you will be dismissed from the nursing program and you will not be able to reapply. So when we say that the standards are tough, and it is a tough and rigorous program, it really is. So we need to make sure when if we're taking these classes, we're doing everything we can. We're limiting all those distractions so that you're putting your best foot forward in those classes. Want to make sure everyone at some point in time goes on and looks on our website, if you go to hagerstowncc.edu and click on Find Programs and Courses, and then click on Programs and Courses, they're listed alphabetically. We want you to pay attention to the requirements that are listed there for the RN and the PN program. It'll have all of the requirements. It'll have everything you need to make sure you do well in classes. It'll have what we just talked about, the minimum grades that you need. But we want students to make sure they know of all the admissions requirements. So there are fact sheets on there for nursing and practical nursing, and we want you to familiarize yourself with the HCC catalog. For those of you watching the preview here and you have not taken anatomy and physiology, may be two of the more challenging courses for new students. They are not courses where you can kind of just lightly go in and just pass the course, you know, and just kind of do things at the last minute. A lot of pieces of advice that faculty will give or students will give would be things like, you know, work ahead, have study groups, you know, use flashcards, you know, say it to learn it. There's a lot of things you need to do, but a common theme is work ahead, not behind in anatomy and physiology. These two classes, ANP1 and ANP2, are really setting the foundation for you to become a good RN or an LPN. And these are two classes you do not want to just go in and give half effort or have a lot of distractions in. So just make sure you're doing your best in those courses. Now, a lot of times we hear students choose our general studies nursing or practical nursing programs because they want to help people. And some students who listen to or watch this preview might think, wow, sounds like there's a big commitment time, or I may not have the adequate daycare, or maybe I don't have the time to do everything that's listed. So if you're in that mindset that you want to help people, we have a lot of majors which are listed on the screen that will help people. They're all listed there. We'll cover them very briefly. We have our CNA, GNA program. If you want to get into a program that's doing basic nursing skills and standard of care related to basic nursing skills, you know, the CNA program is one class that'll last you one semester. It's a great way to get your foot in the door to the nursing field. We also have a dental assisting program, which is a one-year program. There's a lot of certifications you can get out of the dental assisting program. Once again, it's a nice program to help people. Now, when we go over some of these other majors, one of the things that I hear are sometimes students are going through all the general education courses for the RN program, and they do change their mind, and they think in their minds, oh no, I got to start all over to get into another major. And that's not the case. So example, here's our human services program, which may lead you to careers in social services or community self-help or volunteer agencies. And if you would switch into the human services major, there's already a lot of your general education classes that you've already used, like your humanities, your psychology, your A&Ps, your Englishes, and your maths. When we go over some of these programs, you'll see common general education courses that you already will have completed if you decide to change majors into one of these areas. One of the programs that's really picking up a lot of interest at the college is health information management, which can lead you to some certifications for electronic health records. So another one to look into if you're looking to get into the healthcare field and maybe not look at RN or LPN. And here are some of the common general education classes that you have for health information management. Medical assistant is a 2-year degree and a certificate at HCC. A lot of our students do look at the medical assistant area of working in a doctor's office, doing some basic things like checking vital signs, doing height, weight, those types of things. And medical assistant also has some common general education classes that students have already taken for the RN program. If you want to get into the coding and reimbursement side, perhaps you're going to see maybe through A&P or micro that, hey, maybe this isn't the way for me to go. Coding and reimbursement is a great way to go to work with medical insurance, coding and billing offices. Then we have our paramedic and emergency services program. As Robin was saying earlier, we do have an LPN to RN. We also have a paramedic to RN program, and we have a military medic to RN program as transition programs. And here are some of the common general education classes for the paramedic emergency service program. Phlebotomy, there's a national certification you can sit to have to be a phlebotomist in a medical office or a laboratory. It's a real nice program to go through, which takes about a year for students. And then one of our more new programs here at the college is our substance abuse counseling. It's a nice program if you're looking to get into drug counseling or substance abuse counseling. It's a degree and a certificate program as well. And here are some of the common general education classes for those. So now we're going to talk a little about pathway support. I'm going to turn it over to Amber to talk about things that the advising office can assist with.
Thanks, Kevin. So again, folks, my name is Amber Tobry, and I'm an advisor at HCC. And one of the things that myself and the academic advising department can help you with, is, reviewing the requirements that Kevin just spoke about, Robin and Karen just reviewed as well. We can sit down with you to go over what those requirements are, what you've maybe already completed at another school, and how that would translate here at HCC. It can be a little overwhelming to kind of, go through the catalog and through everything to understand exactly what's required of you. And that's something that we can help you do. We can help you plan out your courses so that you're on the best pathway to complete those general education requirements. And we can do that a couple different ways. So, we can do that over the phone, we can do that by email, but we also have some really handy guides on the website. And if you go to our website, you can search for the planning sheets in the advising section. The planning sheets are basically, they're a breakdown of the requirements in the catalog. So it's a nice way to have everything just on one sheet with some links on there. And it's also serves as a really helpful checklist for you as the student, so that as you're going through your program and you're completing things, you have that visual checklist that you can use to monitor your progress. Another thing that students sometimes struggle with that we can help you with in academic advising is the application cycles and timeframes. We can make sure that you're staying on top of that. And we can also review transfer credits that you may be bringing in from other schools. Another thing that we can help you with are the other requirements for these competitive programs, like the TEAS test, making sure your GPA is where it needs to be, and things like that. If you are sitting through this program and you think to yourself that that maybe the LPN or the RN program is just one step on your pathway in your career in the medical field, we have programs that are affiliated with the University of Maryland as well as Frostburg. They're called ATB programs, or Associates to Bachelor programs, where you can work on requirements for your bachelor's in nursing while you're completing the nursing program, the RN program here at HCC. And that's another thing that we can give you a little bit more details on in academic advising. Now, if you're sitting here going through this and you're thinking to yourself that maybe this isn't going to be the right path for you, as Kevin mentioned earlier, there are a lot of other related programs, fields that are also helper type career paths that you could take. And if that's something that you want to explore a little bit more, we can help you do that with career assessment tools here in academic advising. We do have a specific advisor that works with those assessment tools. She is a specialist in that area. So she can help you not only take those assessment tests, but then read through and understand what they mean, and get a better grip of maybe some other interests that you may have that might not have come to you before. So I think that's pretty much it for me in academic advising. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that back to Kevin.
All right, thank you, Amber. So just in about a minute here, I'll tell everyone how to let us know that you've watched this, because as mentioned, this is a requirement to apply for the RN or the PN program. But just a reminder of some of the things that we need to make sure that are in to apply for the programs. You need to make sure you have an HCC application for admission. You need to be an accepted student at the college. You need to make sure you do that supplemental application for RN, the deadlines, July 15th or January 15th. And for practical nursing, it's March the 15th. You need to make sure you have official T-scores sent to HCC by those application deadlines. We need official transcripts from all colleges attended. And any course that you have in progress at the application deadline, we need you to send us those transcripts. And if the grade of C or higher is not achieved, you'll become ineligible for the program. You need an overall 2.0 grade point average in all college coursework and a 2.5 in the required general education courses. And as mentioned, you need to make sure you've documented that you have attended or watched the nursing preview program. So on the screen right now, if you need to get your phone and take a picture of this, I'll go over it a couple times so that you know exactly what you have to do. Your next step is to send an email to the admissions department, and the email address is admissions@hagerstowncc.edu. In the subject line, you'll enter nursing preview and the date that you viewed this program. In the body of the email, please type that I understand all requirements needed to apply to the nursing program at HCC, and that would mean that the RN and the PN program. If you have questions or concerns, like you have a question for an advisor or there's something you want to ask, you can ask it in the email. But we do ask that you include your name and your HCC student ID number in the email. If you don't have your ID number or you can't remember it, you do need to reach out to us in the admissions office so that we can give that to you. If you don't have that ID number, please include your date of birth, because we have to link this email that you send to us to your file. We have electronic files here. When we go through the program and we're looking for, every student, if they've met the requirements, we're looking for the supplemental, we're looking for all college transcripts, we're looking for T's, and we're looking for a document that shows that you've done this program. So this email would show that you have attended or watched this and you meet the requirement for the program. So just to kind of reiterate that, send an email to admissions@hagerstowncc.edu. In the subject line, enter nursing preview and the date that you viewed this program. And in the body of the email, type, I understand all requirements needed to apply to the nursing program at HCC. If you have any questions or concerns, please ask them in the email that you send to us, and you must include your name, HCC student ID number in the email. If you don't have or know your HCC student ID number, please include your date of birth. And the email basically is what shows that you have attended and met this requirement. If you do not send us the email, you will not meet the requirement for the program. So I can't reiterate that enough. If you forget to send this and we don't have anything on file, you won't meet the requirement as attending or watching this preview program. Any questions that you do have on the nursing program, please feel free to reach out to us in the admissions office to admissions@hagerstowncc.edu, and we'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. But please remember the deadlines, and please remember to get everything to us by those application deadlines. Last thing, if you fail to get accepted into the nursing program on 2 separate times, we're going to require you to go back and watch this program again. We don't want students sitting out there spinning their wheels of trying to apply to the program and not getting in. So if you apply and are denied, you apply again and denied, we're going to require you to come through this program again so that we can hopefully help you to address the areas that we need to pick up the grades or do improve some scores somewhere so that you can apply to the program. So this concludes the nursing preview. We thank you for watching. We wish you all the best. We hope to see you in one of our nursing programs, and we thank you very much.